Hello and welcome to Meanwhile in the Falklands, FITV's podcast, take 2 for this morning, because we can never do anything in take 1.
No.
Hello guys, who we got?
I'm Hannah! Oh, God, I love that car. Can you guess? I'm Hannah, swashbuckling Hannah Newton, the hornblower.
Like, aye, aye, mateys, or what have we said before?
No, that got scrapped. Right, Carl, your turn.
Yeah, you got to improv.
Oh, God.
Like,
aye, mateys, I'm Coyle, and I'm a pilot, and I don't know how to sail a boat, so I'm just going to do this accent through the rest of the podcast, because I don't know how to do a pilot voice.
Is it a Western cowboy?
I don't know!
Or is it a pirate? As you can probably guess, we had International Pirate speaking, talking like a pirate day was yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was International West Country accent, so that's what I did.
But yes, we did an extra special bit of animation. Sorry, I'm struggling now. I've lost it. But we did do an extra special.
We've got something very special in the show this week.
When we say Hannah's lost it, basically she doesn't care about talking on the podcast
she's
right now.
desperate to eat a donut.
She just wants to shove a donut in her face. So can you not talk with your mouth open, with your mouth full, with your mouth open?
Oh God.
But yes, it was International Talk Like a Pirate Day yesterday on the 19th of September. We were trying to discuss earlier what the origins of International Talk Like a Pirate Day could be.
I think it's one of those fake Twitter holidays.
Boo,
well,
boo.
like International Give Your Guinea Pig a Kiss Day and stuff like that.
That's a very important day, I'll have you know.
Or like any of those days when we're like, okay, there's no news this week. What's on this calendar? This says?
Hug a news person day that we never ever really do. But one year we will do it. We will stand on the public jetty and be expecting
just have
free
free
hugs.
hug signs.
But no, it's also a bit like Mother's Day, which Carl hates. I love Mother's Day. We
don't-
found out that Carl absolutely thinks that Mother's Day is a waste of time.
I don't think Mother's Day is a waste of time. I didn't say that the last time. What I said was Mother's Day was made bigger by Hallmark because they wanted to make more money and make it seem more important.
So Carl's mother, if you're listening, I'm very sorry that you've got a son who doesn't care about Mother's Day. We'll send you things instead.
She knows that I don't get it for Mother's Day.
Ah, boo. But no, it was International Talk Like a Pirate Day yesterday.
Yes, it was.
So we did an extra special little bit of animation. We got our animation department, Tom Mansell, to work very hard. Crack the whip. He had a whole week of working, and he actually ended up having to bring stuff home, didn't he?
Yeah, I know. He was
but
working
he did a
very
very
hard
good
on
job
all.
of it. So he's kind of done a little animation that you have to watch the show this week to find out. It's different to what we normally do as well.
Yeah.
It's
There's no painted on eye patches this year.
no green screen. We cut all that.
Something a little bit different to what's been done in the past. Might as well.
A little bit exciting, a little bit.
Yeah. What year were you born in, Kyle?
What year was I born in?
Yeah.
You shouldn't ask someone that age. That's rude.
Oh, you're not a woman. Come on.
1994.
1994. Okay. So we are all older than Talk Like a Pirate Day. Because I may have just Googled its origins.
Oh yes.
See?
No.
I'm not saying. The listener can go and research it themselves. But I'll let you know, it's younger than us.
So it's definitely fake.
Younger than it, so it's definitely a fake holiday.
Yeah. 1995 it started by the old Chum Bucket.
The old chum bucket.
And Cap and Sally. Or Cap and Slappy, I can't remember.
Now, I can't remember how I linked this to Chilean Independence Day, but I'm going to try and do a link anyway. Anchorman. We were talking about Anchorman. Anchors, pirates throw anchors off of ships, right? Carl
This is
was
so
a really
laboured.
good Anchorman this week, weren't you?
I was. There we
Link,
go. I was in everything. I was in the news. I was in talking. I was chatting and chewing. I was dancing. I was everywhere.
Yeah, but your dancing was your favourite bit, let's be honest. If you haven't seen it, head over to FITV's Instagram right now to witness Kyle's hips.
It's great.
They do not lie.
There's literally nothing better than being dragged away forcibly by a very lovely Chilean woman.
Exactly.
Who's
You had a very hot date for it. Come on.
determined to make you dance, regardless of how much you don't want to dance.
No, but it was quite funny because he had a miserable face when he was being dragged onto the dance floor. The minute he was on the dance floor, the fists were coming out, the snake hips were going on. I was like, Jesus, Kyle, come on. You ever kept that secret? Made out like you didn't enjoy it. Your face probably looked like you didn't, but your little hips were going and little fists.
I was trying to fit in. And
social pressures.
social pressures. That's what it was. See, I generally, and have been told by many people that I can't dance. So
see, my mum saw the clip and actually said that you should be on Strictly. When are you next going to
See,
be on Strictly?
I don't know if that's a compliment or not, because you have really bad dancers on Strictly.
Also, my mum's got terrible eyesight, so who knows?
Oh well.
Well, that's everything you need to know.
See, that's something else that's been happening all week. Bullying Kyle week as well.
It has been, but you did really well. We went off to chat and chill on Wednesday because it was 2 years.
I thought you were going to say you did really well. You stood up to the bullying.
No,
you were such a great target.
Well, I peer pressured Kyle again. It was Chat and Chew, 2 years of Chat and Chew,
Yeah.
which is a luncheon kind of club that they organise every week where a group of people can go and chat, make new friends, have a bowl of fresh soup, and just have a good chinwag.
Yeah.
And we got there and we thought, you know what, we'll get Carl to be the face of it all.
Yep.
And we made him, well, I made him, I don't say we, made him sit next to a very nice chap. You met a very nice chap. Can you remember his name? No, there we go.
I can't, to be in my defence, I can't remember anyone's name.
But you had a chat to him, didn't you?
I did.
We got some nice shots of
chatting
Carl
about
having
the
a
trips
chat and a
that
chew.
Chat and Chew do, and talking about peat cutting as well.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
So have you learned all about Falklands traditions now then?
No.
No.
In one ear, out the other.
In one ear, out the other. That's...
We'll take him next week, and we'll keep going. And
It just feels
get
too much pressure of having the camera in front of
Exactly.
it. It doesn't actually retain any information.
Well, that's why I'm so bad on the news. It's just like it just goes into panic mode.
quick, say words. Oh, that brings me on to something very exciting you had to say this week.
Oh, don't.
Carl had a very nice, exciting word because Chilean Independence Day is actually known in Chile as I said Chile and not Chile. In Chile, is known as something else.
Don't say it. Kyle's got to say it.
What's the word?
18, but in Spanish.
Yes, and how do you say that word?
And why is it 18, first of all?
Because that's the day of Chilean Independence Day.
18th September.
18th
okay.
September.
Yeah.
There we go.
And how do you say 18 in Spanish?
Come on, drum roll.
Dioptro? Dioptro.
If there's any Chileans or Spanish people listening out here, please do type in your complaint.
Dioptro. I can't say it.
Or come and teach Carl some Spanish.
I did French in high school. I learned a little bit of Swedish. I've never learned Spanish. I don't know how to pronounce anything in Spanish.
Give it to us one more time.
Dioptro?
So if any listener can figure out what he's trying to say, please do get on our
quiz of the
Facebook
week.
or give us a... say it one more time, nice and loud and clear. Sorry, he's just having a minor...
Dioptro. Dioptro?
Don't look at me. I'm not going to help you out with this one, mate.
Dioptro.
Oh, close. Carl's also very ill this week.
I'm also really ill, so it's been
taking
really
the
great
Michael
this
of
whole
him,
week.
haven't we?
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, the most unfair thing is that Hannah can actually say the word, but I had to say it on the news.
I know. Tom did it on purpose in the script. That's what it
You're
was.
welcome.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But
So did you prefer sitting down, chatting and chewing rather than standing up and dancing in Chile Day?
yeah, I don't know. They were both very new experiences.
I think it's good to throw you into the limelight, to be honest. It gets you out there and
You guys
moving
were
and shaking.
The dancing wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I'm just very self-conscious about my bad dance moves.
Didn't look it, mate.
No, it's
You
fine.
look
Yeah.
like an absolute pro.
Absolutely loving it. The biggest grin I've ever seen. It was a great thumbnail on Instagram, actually. Your big smile.
You know when it's like you want to cry but you just start laughing instead.
Dying slightly
Yeah.
inside. Yeah. Well, you two went out as a little bit of a pod quite a lot this week.
Yeah, we
Because
did.
Not
We
only
had-
did you do Chat and Chew,
Dream
you
team.
did
Dream
Chile
team.
Independence, and then
Did
you were
some pieces
also
of camera for you.
you were also out at CPR training and AED
That we
training
were.
together.
That was good.
That was really good.
And we got our special certificates, didn't we?
certificates.
Got our certificates last week. We went and did some CPR.
So-
Don't know if I'd trust Carl with my life, but still.
So if you get into trouble, be prepared. We will not be able to help you because we'll probably panic and forget everything we learned.
It was quite interesting
But-
though, because they've got these special machines, AED machines, that actually they're automated external defibrillator machines. So they've got a little robot voice, someone living
it
in
tells you
there,
exactly what to do and in the order to do it.
and takes you around the cycle, and it tells you. There's special beeps that tell you how to give your chest compressions, how often, whether you need to shock them or not. When your rescue breaths come in, then you stop for a bit while they're being shocked. Obviously, you don't want to touch them when they're being shocked and stuff like that. And they'll check the heartbeat of the victim, patient, or whatever.
They're amazing little machines, are they? Because before, like, seeing those ones, it's like, okay, I could probably use those. But usually when you think about defibrillator, it's like, Jesus Christ. You've got to, like, rub the paddles together and say clear, then, God, I'd be how do you even use that?
But that's for the professionals.
No, I know,
to be honest, I think you're better off having that training.
Oh, definitely.
But
than
do you,
not,
but do you think also the concept you have of rubbing those paddles together is an older concept seen on films? And
I mean, it's definitely from ER
and these are
and stuff.
actually now like the newer way of
Yeah,
doing
definitely.
it. And in all likelihood, even within hospitals, you'll probably just have pads you put on in certain places and press the button. They do a similar job. You don't need that external paddle thing. I think that's a dramatised Hollywood thing.
Well, we also got to have a go at Choking Charlie as well.
Yeah, we
who's
did.
A very nice. We met Choking Charlie. He's a nice dummy who has a little bit of something stuck in his
Yeah,
throat, and you have
you've
to
got
kind
to do
of.
the old like Heimlich manoeuvre on
Yeah,
him.
but it's not. It's different. It's not
Is
called
it?
that anymore.
No,
I don't think.
well,
But it's some sort of. You give him. If someone's choking, you kind of lay him diagonally across you and give him a good 5 whacks up the back.
Like
and
if you were trying to like burp a baby, but
but
a bit more severe.
A big person, and then you
slightly
kind
more
of come
robust.
around
slightly
and
more.
squeeze them in the stomach and really get them.
And then what was the other one? You like stand in front of them, put your hand on their shoulder, and just punch them in the chest.
Yeah, punch them in the stomach or something.
Like the movements that Kyle and Hannah are doing are very reminiscent of anime.
Jiu-jitsu also.
Yeah, you just do a bunch of karate moves, and then eventually, I don't know, you save the lives.
Then you Naruto run away.
Yeah.
But it's good though. At least we know if anyone ever actually does have a problem, we could kind of at least have a go at trying to save them.
Probably.
Instead of being like, oh my god, what do I do?
But that is essentially what the training is for, isn't it? It's not about, they're not trying to make you a professional. They're not trying to like say you will definitely save them. But it leaves you, if you're in this position, say you're one-on-one and you're out in camp or something like that, and there's no one else around and this happens, you at least have some kind of prior knowledge.
Anyone can do it.
But that's the thing that they were saying. They were like, look, even the worst CPR in the world is better than just leaving them there.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to be good at. Well, obviously it'd be better if you're good at it. But even if you don't know that much, it's better to at least try to do something than to not do anything at all.
And we had to go at some rescue breasts, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
That was quite good.
Yeah.
Rescue
breast on the dummy.
We made out with a dummy.
Ah.
It's quite difficult.
Don't say rescue breasts.
Are we allowed breasts? Mustard word? No.
I don't think it's a mustard word.
We'll get away with it.
Yeah. Not at all. It's just a part of the human body.
Exactly.
That's like saying feet is a mustard word. Speaking of feet.
Speaking of feet, we saw a Tarantino film.
I would say feet is the perfect tangent to Tarantino, isn't it?
God.
He has a bit of a fetish, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a pretty well-known fetish at this point, and at this point, he's not even trying to hide it.
But I feel like it sort of came out as in like he used to shoot camera angles of feet quite a lot in his early films. And like it wasn't a ludicrous amount, but enough to make people go,
I think the one that did it was in the first. Was it the first Kill Bill movie? Or was it the second one? Where Uma Thurman's trying to like will her legs to work again, and it's like a 10-minute shot of her feet and her like trying to get herself to move them.
I'm gonna put this into context. Though we actually went to the cinema to go and see a Tarantino film last night called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
There's the context.
There you go.
We're not just rambling on about feet and Tarantino.
Well, he did say we went to see Tarantino last night
did you?
at the start of this. Shows how much Hannah listens.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't his like finest movie, but I definitely enjoy it. I mean, I feel like it split opinions based on the people who we were with.
The characters were good. I thought the characters were
excellent. The acting was excellent.
It's just the story was bitty. It was a bit all over the place.
I think it's definitely one that's like watch it a second time and it will come together.
And that was the thing as well. I was reading up about it again. I was like, well, to be fair, my favourite bit from it was 100% the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was phenomenal. But the big thing, like one of the big reviews said last night that it was very much a story about the story, which is sort of said in the title. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's about Hollywood, past and present, and sort of Hollywood as an entity, and the characters just are there to show you what Hollywood is like. Whereas every other Tarantino film is very protagonist driven, even though there are like 8 protagonists in Tarantino's films normally. Like, it's still protagonist driven, whereas this, it doesn't actually, because it's Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt, and there are an abundance of other really good actors in there. But even though it follows a couple of them specifically, it's not about them. It's about Hollywood and how Hollywood interacts with people.
Well, I thought it was going to be mainly about the main character, Rick Dalton, but actually it's not. It flips between them.
It's like,
and what I hadn't realised is some of the backstory to it, which actually I don't think spoils the movie at all, but it would have made me appreciate it more whilst watching it if I knew it before. Because Kyle, you told me after the film ended.
Yeah, there's
We're not going to spoil it. Is this a spoiler
alert?
alert? Spoiler alert?
Like, I don't think saying about like what it's based on spoils it. I think that adds more to it.
Part of the film that deals with the Manson murders and the Manson family.
Yeah.
And there's this isn't a spoiler, but Margot Robbie's character Sharon Tate is featured quite prominently, and obviously in real life Sharon Tate was one of the victims of the Manson family, and it's interesting seeing seeing her as a character in this when you know that's what's going to happen, and then ultimately in the film seeing what happens then.
Yeah, exactly. And regardless of what happens to her character, one of the things that was confusing for me was the fact that she was playing this person, and she was going to the theatre, like to the movies within the film, and watching films that she was saying she was in, but it clearly wasn't her on screen. And that for me, having no prior knowledge, was a little bit confusing, and it was throwing me. But knowing after that she's playing the character that she was watching, who is a real life actress, and that was an actual movie, that made a lot more sense. And I feel like if I had known that whilst watching the film, I wouldn't have spent 15 minutes going, what the hell is going on?
I thought, oh, that probably is her. At one point I was like, oh, that must be her.
I think the thing that I was surprised by is that for the Tarantino film, which doesn't have the best reputation when it comes to treating characters sensitively, he treated her very sensitively and was very respectful to her as a person.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because you might think that, but I was having a read up last night, and apparently her sister Deborah isn't very happy with the way she was portrayed.
She wasn't until Tarantino sent her the script, and then she went, oh, well, actually this is okay, and then gave Margot Robbie some of Sharon Tate's jewellery to wear and stuff.
The Jet Li.
Yeah, that bit was also...
Yeah, his family weren't happy with that at all.
They weren't happy with Bruce Lee's portrayal.
Who's Jet Li? What am I talking about?
I don't know Jet Li.
Who am I confusing?
No, Jet Li is like a Asian movie star.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting confused.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's in the film and wasn't treated particularly well.
But anyway, go and watch the film. These guys must have to go and watch it and let us know what
Make your own opinion.
100% worth watching.
Watch.
And the reason we got onto this was because of Feet, and he didn't disappoint. There was
there was at least 20 different shots of various women's feet.
And it was so funny because we made a comment. There was like a group Facebook page, chat, and was it me or was it you that made a comment about, oh, it'll just be, there were people asking, oh, what is this film? And we said, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it will just be 2 hours of Margot Robbie's feet. And then within the first 20 minutes, there were three scenes containing Margot Robbie's leg and feet. And a friend who was sat next to me, every time the feet came up, nudged me and went, just pulled this face of like, what? How did you know? And I was like, it's Tarantino. It was always going to be that. But aside from our social life, there were plenty of other work things, because last weekend was massively busy.
Yes, it was.
And you guys went down because I was away in camp, which we'll come to after. I couldn't make it back in time for the reception for the hockey team.
Yes, it was good Saturday night, wasn't it? At the Narrows. That was quite nice. The boys, the team that went out to play in the LATAM Cup in Florida, Miami. That's not a Miami accent.
No, but it wasn't quite in Miami. It was.
But went on the trip. Went on a really nice holiday. They went to
had a lovely time
to compete in the LATAM Cup, and they did really well actually.
Yeah, they did.
They came back with loads of medals, and they came fresh off the plane.
They got quite a lot of international attention as well, which is always good to hear.
We went down there and had a little celebrate with them, and got a couple of shots.
I was surprised that so many of them were still awake after the flight.
Oh God, yeah.
But you think about it as well, it's actually, that flight is actually all right, because I was questioning that to begin with as well. But they only really start their day at 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that, because they had the whole day on Friday in Santiago, and then you stay in Santiago overnight, and then you fly. It's only like a 2-hour flight, 3-hour flight from Santiago to Punta. Then there's a little bit of a layover, and then it's an hour flight from Punta to the Falklands. So even though it feels like, it's a really long day of travelling, actually from Santiago it's not. It's just a bit of a pain.
It's funny because they had all their luggage outside the Narrows in a big bundle, wasn't it?
How badly did it smell?
Yeah.
Hockey kit.
I think that's why they kept it outside.
Shirts and stuff. They had their big shirts on and all their medals and we spoke with Sam Cockwell. He had a good time. He was telling us about his fishing trip as well. Showing us a picture of the really big fish he caught.
Gigantic, what was it?
Oh, don't even try and ask me. I can't remember.
Mud carp,
something crazy that came from a Florida swamp or something like that.
Florida man.
And we probed Stacey Bragger on the sports
facility. Asked her about the ice rink.
Yeah.
Will there be an ice rink in the Falklands?
I mean, if you want the answer to that, tune into 447. FITV, Falklands in Focus this week. He answers all the questions. A great time to grill people when they're trying to have a fun social affair. And to be fair, they're normally loosened up. Managed to get one of the Stanley Services ladies on camera for the first time ever. So well done, guys. I appreciate that.
I know. No shit. Well, I've had her before. I did actually. She didn't realise I had her for one of the marathons or pink walk
Oh,
or something.
it was for the pink
And
walk.
she was, don't put me in. But we got her and her son, and it was just really nice, the two of
I
them.
think we surprised her at the right time and kind of gone off guard.
We also went to the craft fair, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Craft exhibition,
Not fair.
So they had loads of different artists from the Falkland Islands and put in loads of different categories.
There's some really
God,
nice
there's
pieces
about
over there.
20 different categories, so you can do anything from felting to knitting to dyeing to... There was leather work and metal work and trashter pieces where you can build stuff.
People's photographs and people's artwork. And
it was
Hannah
good.
was having a great big long chat about knitting and knitting techniques.
A knitting chat, which was good. Don't know if I'll ever manage to get anything in for the exhibition. But that brings us on to actually, next week, we've got the craft fair where people actually sell their stuff, which would be quite good. Good opportunity to get prezzies for people at home.
Kyle would be probably doing that one in the end.
Yeah, but
buying everything.
While we were there, you were off volunteering.
Well, yeah, we say
Let's say
volunteering.
volunteer. Make it sound nice.
Making it sound like I'm a really selfless human being. Actually, I was paying money to go out and see some king penguins, which is so Volunteer Point is a very popular tourist destination here in the Falklands. It's really not that far. It's a couple of hour drive. It's a bit of off-roading, and you get to this pristine white sandy beach with clear blue water and normally a beautiful sky, but it was completely overcast.
Where is it?
It's by Johnston's Harbour.
Okay, cool.
So it's all the way. You essentially go all the way around the Falklands. No, not the Sound. Berkeley Sound. So you go around to the other side of Berkeley Sound. So grab a Falklands map whilst I'm saying this and have a look. So you go around from Stanley, you go west and you loop around, you go to the top of Berkeley Sound, past Johnston's Harbour. So that's where the road ends essentially. And then you go off-road for a couple of hours to get to...
so are they all on the beach? Or how's it...
well, they're as king penguins and penguins normally don't really nest or have their colonies on beaches. They come further back from it. So you've got the wonderful beach, then just behind it you've got this huge colony of Gentoo penguins, you've got loads of Magellanic penguins, and then that little bit further back you've got 5,000 pairs of king penguins. Who weren't all there at the moment because they're still out feeding at sea. But the chicks, the fledglings, take a year to get ready to be able to go in the water. So the chicks that were born last year are still there, all brown and fluffy, and they're so inquisitive.
They're molting as well.
Well, they're not molting at the moment. They're okay. Because they've still got a few months before they'll even be shedding the baby coat and having the adult one. But it was great to just go up there and have this sea of really inquisitive young penguins. Well, I didn't realise king penguins live till they're 20 years old. They've got a 20-year lifespan. A bit longer than I thought they would have, but unlike other penguins which lay multiple eggs at the same time, a king penguin only ever lays one egg at a time, and a pair only lays one egg every 3 to 5 years.
Oh wow!
Really? Wow!
That's
God, that's a big investment.
Yeah, so it's a sort of make or break for the penguin population whether that chick survives.
Were the chicks playing with each other, running around?
They were
sometimes. I remember when I went
really huddled.
When we did our island trips at Saunders, they had these 3 little king penguin chicks that were running around. Emperor penguin. King penguin? King. What am I thinking? Emperors are
Emperors are similar colours, much bigger, further
but they
south.
were just running around like this and flapping their wings like kids. Do you know what I mean? In a circle, all 3 of them. I thought, what? I've never seen that before.
But it's great because they are probably the most inquisitive of all the chicks, apart from probably the rock hopper adults, which just like to get involved. But you just sit down. I sat down with my camera, and the next thing you know, they're like 10, 15 of them are coming up to you and like looking at what you're doing. And they're closer than we're sat right now.
That's amazing.
We're not sat on each other's laps, by the way.
They're like genuinely from like you to Carl, I'd say a foot and a half between the two of you.
I need to get up there. I've not seen a penguin.
You need to get out of camp more, mate.
I know.
Carl needs to get out and about. He's too busy cooped up.
That's true.
Well, it has been the winter months, which makes getting out to camp a little bit harder because there's a lot less things going on in camp.
Although motocross season is starting next weekend. We've got a mega weekend next weekend, don't we?
Ridiculous.
So busy.
Weekend of busy. And the first race of the motocross is on.
Yep.
On the Sunday at Long Island.
Kyle will...
I don't know, maybe you should take that if you want to take that. That gets him out and about.
Drive out to Long... To be fair, Long Island is a place I haven't been to yet and I would love to go to at some point, so you should definitely take that opportunity up and go out there.
Because
it's a really nice beach.
But we will suss it out. But that's on. Also, we've got the Badminton National Championship.
That's but I mean the rest.
Friday,
we can work out the logistics with everything else occurring in town. So one of us will be out in camp definitely.
And you'll be up Longdon.
Hopefully I should be up Mount Longdon filming the Zimbabweans doing
So
their...
what's this for?
It's I don't actually 100% know what the fundraiser is for.
It's a charity for people that have been hurt by landmines and that kind of stuff.
I see.
Because it's run by Safe Lane. It's being run by the Zimbabwean deminers from Safe Lane Global, previously known as Backtech, who are back now finishing the last phases of the demining project. Hopefully, Falklands should be mine clear by June 2020. So next summer, York Bay and the like should hopefully be open. I've heard a little rumour on the grapevine, though, that the contract for York Bay hasn't gone out yet. So we're still waiting on that. But the deminers are back and working because they've got some stuff at the Murrell and Fox Bay and Port Howard to still finish up. So they'll be working on that, and we will definitely get out and catch up with them as soon as they start working. So they're just such a great part of the community. They bring so much life back to the place. We're in the pub the other night, and just like having that group of them coming back, and it feels like everything's a bit jollier because they're all they're always upbeat and
challenge
chatty.
concert as well. They're always great at that. They Zim Harmony. That's what they do. You haven't had a chance to sing it. Yeah, they're great singers as well.
Yeah,
they're all dancing and.
Previous is the name of the lead singer. Fantastic man, really lovely.
But you know what else is coming up next week? One of my favourite things. Can you have a guess?
A public meeting.
No, it's not a public meeting. It involves eating.
Is it the Macmillan Coffee Morning?
Yes, it is. The Macmillan Coffee Morning. Woo!
Yeah.
The annual Macmillan Coffee Morning. The museum's putting it on again. And it's my favourite event because, geez, the cakes are good.
Yeah.
All sorts of cakes. You haven't had a chance to go to that yet.
No.
Kyle, you will love it. You can get so many different cakes.
Well, if it's anything like the chat
and it is like chat and chew. Go and get coffee, have a chat.
So the plan is to be doing the podcast from here post Macmillan Coffee Morning next week. So
didn't we do it last year? We did it at the Macmillan Coffee Morning, I think.
I don't know because I didn't
I think
attend.
it was Katie and I, and we were talking to Roger Edwards and got some people involved in it.
So did more of an interviewing podcast. Took it down there and had a chat.
But I don't know.
Maybe
we could try and have a go at doing that, maybe. But whatever happens, we'll be eating lots of cake.
Yes,
and it's
absolutely.
For cancer research, isn't it?
Cancer Macmillan Cancer Support. Yeah, which there was another event last weekend for cancer support as the Be Bold, Be Gold campaign to try and raise awareness for childhood cancer. They held a family fun day here in Stanley, and they raised over about £3,500
really
on some cake sales and some bouncing on a bouncy castle, which is this community is so good at giving.
Fundraising,
And speaking again, going back to Macmillan, they broke the record for the amount of money they ever raised last year. So they're going to be pushing that this year to try and raise that little bit more. Every penny helps.
I think we should have a go at baking some cakes. That could be quite fun. That could be a little cooking.
Nice little challenge for next week.
One lunchtime, FITV bakes.
FITV brownies. I love a brownie. That's the only thing I know how to bake.
The easiest thing to bake.
Exactly. But they're still really nice.
See, if Paula was here, we'd be sorted.
Yeah,
she could just whip us up something.
Yeah, she'd bring her pancake. To be fair, we would say, go and we bake something for the bake sale, and we'd have one cake in mind, and Paula would come back with an assorttion of a variety of different cakes. She'd have pancakes, she'd have souffle, all of that dressed in her cardigan.
What's that Queen of Puddings? What's that pudding that's amazingly massive, and they always have to make it on Bake Off? Queen of. Someone will know. A listener will know.
Email
who
us.
knows how to bake. Queen of Puddings or something it's called, and it's a huge 4-story cake that's got meringue on the outside and different layers of things in the middle. Can't remember.
Like a bit like a trifle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Very nice.
But it's quite a traditional, old-fashioned dessert. What was it? Queen of dessert? I'm going to Google it.
All right, well, I think we're going to sort of round off this podcast on just talking about this weekend. So before we talk about tonight, which is the thing I want to end it on, we've got the Clyde's Farewell Parade tomorrow, haven't we? Despite after the incident at Bypass, which you've heard us talk about for weeks on end now, and for a latest update, do check out the show. The Clyde can't actually come in. There was supposed to be an open day, and she was supposed to be at Bypass. Everyone could go on her for one last time.
That's a shame.
But that's not going to happen, unfortunately.
She's
12
at Mare
years.
Harbour.
Yeah, 12 years of service.
Jeez.
What
Patrolling
will
the
happen to her
Falklands.
next? That's what I'd like to know.
Watch the show next week.
Yeah.
But we will answer that question.
The next ship that's coming down is the HMS Scout?
Fourth.
Yeah.
Gout?
Scout.
I thought it said gout.
No.
God, what a name for a ship.
It's the fourth
Forth.
Yeah, so the HMS Forth it was commissioned a couple of years ago actually. The HMS Clyde was supposed to end her tenure in the Falklands after 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And she only stayed for 2 more years due to there being a couple of issues with the Forth following her sea trials, which is always apparently expected when a ship comes to sea. Not that I know anything. Anyone with a naval history will be telling me I'm completely wrong here. But
I wonder, is the Forth a newer boat then, or how does it happen?
It was built very recently, and it's going to come down
That's
in. It's
exciting.
essentially its first proper deployment is coming down to protect the Falklands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that will be really, really exciting to have a new ship down.
Hopefully
But
we'll be able to get on it
sad.
and get a little
Yeah,
tour
that'd be
as well.
great.
Yeah, I'm just sad about saying goodbye to the Clyde, because the Clyde Open Day was one of the first presenter-led pieces I did for FITV way back in early 2017, and now she's saying farewell. But on a lighter note, where Kyle and I are not attending, but Hannah, I'll give you the floor for the last 2 minutes.
Should I do a clue?
Only 120 seconds.
Keep dancing. That's my clue. Conservation Ball is on tonight. I'm so excited.
Yep.
Gonna get my glad rags on. Gonna do some dancing. Probably not gonna bid in the auction because I don't have enough money, but I'll have a go. And
But it's always so much fun to get your paddle up.
I know. Well, what I'll
but
do
you don't want
is
to be the
hopefully
last
sit next to
person with it
somebody
up, though.
Yeah. Somebody who's sitting next to somebody who's got a lot of money and just keep putting it up for them instead.
I have a friend that who let's say had one too many drinks.
I know
which
who you're
always,
talking
which
about.
always makes an auction super exciting.
Yep.
And he put his paddle up for a bid of about £8,000. It was, in all fairness, it was for the Star Prize, the Limbad Expedition cruise to South Georgia. It's worth about £25,000. So £8,000 a steal.
Yeah.
But he's not a particularly outdoorsy man, and he doesn't really care about wildlife that much. so as much as some people might see South Georgia as an ultimate goal, he doesn't care. That wasn't something. But anyway, he put his paddle up, and it was like going once, going twice. At which point he turns to the table and goes, "What am I bidding on?" Not a clue what he'd just done, nor did he have a clue how much money it was going for. He just put the paddle up because it was like anyone
But
else.
He didn't end up with it.
No, he didn't.
No,
So
luckily,
it ended up going up to about £14,000 in the end. So it was very close, going once, going twice, but then it ended up getting bumped up. One of the things, and I might get shouted at by conservation for saying this, but one of the things that I didn't enjoy last year was the way, and correct me if auctions have always done this, but the way that sealed bids work on the auction. So on the night, say for example there's a painting and someone has put a sealed bid in for £800 on it. On the night they start the bid at £100 and it goes £100, £100, £200, £100, £250, £270, £200, and say the bidding on the night ends at £600, he goes, okay, well the sealed bid was £800, so you lose. And it goes to the sealed bid, which I don't think...
I thought the sealed bid would start. It would start at the sealed bid number.
Yeah.
No, well, as a sealed bid, you can put your starting number and the highest number you would go to. But at the same time, I feel like it's a little bit of a cop-out because if someone's bidding and has outbid everyone to £600, maybe they're willing to spend £1,500 on this painting. But if it goes, but then just being told, okay, well, the sealed bid is this. I think the sealed bid is what this person who is normally not attending, it's their highest price they would pay for it. So they would never pay more than £800 for it. So you should be told sort of at the end, okay, bidding's here, you're the winner of the bid.
And
however,
now you're up against the sealed bidder.
However, the sealed bid is £800. The next
Do you
bid
wanna
above
go
that
higher?
is £850. Will you go to £850? Yes, you
I
will.
don't know if
Sealed
it
bid
worked.
lose.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I remember I didn't really pay much attention to
assumed
the auction
that's how it
last year
worked,
because
but-
I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
Do you know, unless you're bidding on something.
I
It's
just
quite
fi-
fun watching them.
I find it terribly exciting though, yeah.
But I don't know whether it works like that or whether it's... Because they don't have telephone bidders, or do they?
No, nothing of the sorts. Nothing of the sorts. So it's just bid on the night, and if you can't make it on the night, you have your sealed bids, or you can still have your sealed bids if you're there. But I don't know. Maybe that's how auctions work. Please get in touch with us here, news@fitv.co.uk, and tell me how terribly wrong I am
About how an auction
auction works. But I just feel like if the purpose is to make money and the bidding doesn't meet the sealed bid, it might not be because no one wants to spend more money. It might just be because the person winning is like, well, I'm winning.
Exactly.
Why would I spend more? I think they should then have the opportunity to try and beat
outbid
that
the-
sealed bid.
And my 120 seconds on the conservation ball has been blown. However, I might bid on something. You never know.
Ooh.
You have to.
Catch it, yeah.
Let us
Next
know
week.
next week.
I will let you know
There's
if
a
I actually win anything.
beautiful kelp-inspired necklace by Alice Clark's Jewellery that genuinely I've put a sealed bid in already. Yeah, that's a Christmas present to come if I win that one. But I know I'm not, because my sealed bid. I contacted.
What's
I
£5?
contacted the jeweller and said, like, how much would you
Yeah.
sell this for? And that's what I've bid. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know it's going to blow that out of the water, but I thought it was worth a go.
Why not?
You'll love it. You will see it, and I
Yeah.
guarantee a drunk Hannah's going to be like,
Yeah.
paddle.
Yeah, that would blow my new iPhone that I want to buy
exactly.
out. So why not?
All right, well, Hannah will be able to tell us all about her
Yep.
evening next week. The weekend, as I said, has only got the Clyde, so that's quite a nice one before our very hectic weekend next week. Thank you very much for tuning in, and if you want to watch along to anything we've been talking about, it's Falklands in Focus week 447, channel 844 for
Or
KTV
any other
HD.
channel,
Yep.
depending on what telly you've got.
Yeah, or depending
Just
how
have
they
a
set
look.
it up locally, or head over to fitv.co.fk, go to our channel, subscribe. Don't subscribe for one episode, because all our episodes are glorious, so subscribe for the year. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We'll speak to
We
you
will
next week.
catch you next week.
See you later. Bye.